Hello and a very warm welcome to the India Today Education Summit. I'm Shweta Punch, Deputy Editor with India Today magazine. Well, the new Education Policy 2020 aims at bringing sweeping reforms in every sphere of the education sector, from universities to schools. Inevitably, the policy has led to sharp debates on the kind of changes it's hoping to usher in. It is very important to provide a clearer perspective to the real stakeholders, that's students, teachers and parents, on how the national education policy will impact them. Well, here at India Today, we have brought together experts from every segment, from higher education to school education, to debate, discuss, dissect and share their opinions on the national education policy. Of course, we'd like to thank our sponsors, our associate sponsors Galgotia University, Sanskriti University and Banasthali Vidyapeeth. Our exclusive session sponsor is Amrita Vishwa Vidyapeetham. Well, with that, I'd like to begin by inviting Mr. Raj Chengappa, the Group Editorial Director Publishing of the India Today Group, to please open the conclave and give his welcome address.
Hello, I'm Raj Chengappa, and on behalf of India Today magazine, I am delighted to welcome you to this virtual education conclave to discuss the new education policy announced recently by the Modi government. The new policy promises to be a game changer for a sector that has been waiting for big reforms for 3 decades now. The policy is built on 5 key pillars. The first is access, ensuring that educational institutes are within easy reach of children and their parents. The second is equity, to set right past injustices and make good educational facilities available to all sections and classes of society. The third is affordability, to ensure that the poor are not denied proper education because the fees are just too high. The fourth is quality. We need to build a world-class system and higher education system as well. The fifth is accountability, which means that those entrusted with the task of imparting education and for regulating such institutes need to uphold the best practices. We can also add, given the current troubled times, that the policy should ensure a more flexible, holistic and multidisciplinary approach to education. This is needed to prepare our children for all the challenges they would encounter in a rapidly changing world, including great disruptions like the corona pandemic that we are just experiencing. The objective of the policy is to make our educational system globally competitive but rooted in Indianness. The new education policy has set some very ambitious but necessary goals. Top among them is to ensure that no single child is left out of the education process, at least from preschool and up to the secondary level. The target is 100% gross enrollment in school education by 2030, that's just 10 years from now. In doing so, the policy hopes to bring the 2 crore children who either have not attended schools or dropped out back into the classrooms. When it comes to higher education, currently only 1 out of 4, or 27% of school students enroll in colleges to pursue higher studies. This is really very, very low. So under the new policy, the gross enrollment ratio, as it is known, is to be doubled to 50% by 2035, which means 1 out of 2 school students will attend colleges. This would mean that around 3.5 crore new seats will have to be added in colleges, universities and other higher education institutes. The centre and the states will work together to double the public investment in the education sector from the current very low 3% of our GDP to 6% at the earliest of our GDP. I will now talk about some specifics of the new education policy to make it more simple and easy to understand. When it comes to school education, the old 10+2 system is to be replaced with a 5+3+3+4 curriculum. For the first time, preschool education would be included in the formal structure. It means that a child's first 5 years of school would be divided into 3 years of preschool education and 2 years of primary school that would end with class 2. This is because research has shown that cognitive development of young children, how they perceive, think and gain understanding of the world around them, begins from the age of 3 itself. So foundational literacy and numeracy learning, the ability to learn a language and to understand and work with numbers, would dominate the first 5 years of a child's schooling. And the target is that by 2025, all learners would be covered. That's just 5 years from now. Then ages 8 to 11, which I'm talking of the 5 plus 3, so I've described 5, now the first 3. Then these are from ages 8 to 11 or from classes 3 to 5 would be considered as the prep stage, where the focus would be on experimental learning involving play, discovery, and activity-based classrooms. Sounds like fun. From ages 11 to 14 years or classes 6 to 8, this will be regarded as the middle stage. Here the learning would become more serious, more experiential, and the sciences, mathematics, arts, social studies, and humanities will be taught in more depth. But what is most important is, and what would be discouraged is, learning by rote. No more mugging. From 14 to 18 years, which will cover classes 9 to 12, the changes include bringing about a multidisciplinary study where students could choose any set of subjects from the available structure, including this unusual combo of, say, technical and arts. The focus would be on flexibility and ensuring vocational options. Board exams from grades 10 and 12, very important as we all know, will continue, but will be redesigned. A new National Assessment Center with the acronym PARAK, which stands for Performance Assessment, Review and Analysis of Knowledge for Holistic Development, quite a mouthful, will be the standard setting body for examinations. In higher education, the policy makes undergraduate courses to be now 4 years instead of the 3 across the country. It will have flexible curricula, creative combinations of subjects, integration of vocational education, and multiple entry and exit points with appropriate certification for each of these. To promote research, an area where Indian institutes have paled in comparison to their global counterparts, the National Research Foundation will be created as an apex body for building research capacity. Multidisciplinary education research universities called MERUs, on par with the IITs and IIMs, is to be set up in large numbers to ensure global standards in the country and to have students access this excellent institutions that are being set up. The big change also is that instead of the multiplicity of boards and commissions, a single Higher Education Commission of India will be set up and act as the umbrella body to regulate higher education. Only medical and legal education will be excluded. Internationalization of education, a lot of us go abroad to study, will now be facilitated in India through institutional collaborations. Also, top world-ranked universities will be allowed to set up open campuses in India so that our children don't have to go abroad to get the best of education. In keeping with the need of the times, especially after the pandemic, a comprehensive set of recommendations for promoting what is called virtual or online education has been included in the new policy. And for this, an autonomous body, the National Education Technology Forum, will be created to provide a platform for free exchange of ideas on the use of technology to enhance learning, assessment, and planning for this new course. Importantly, the new policy also takes note of the need to produce quality teachers and to establish national standards for teaching. Very, very important. And the success of the policy and its effectiveness will be tested by the implementation process. The center and state governments must work in sync with each other. There are multiple challenges to implement the new policy. It will be a long and tough process with possibilities of derailment at every stage. To discuss these challenges and to explore solutions, India Today magazine has organized this special virtual conclave on the new education policy. We have brought together a host of eminent speakers to brief you on the policy. This includes Union Education Minister, Mr. Ramesh Pokhriyal, who will spell out the Modi government's vision for the implementation of the education policy. Dr. K. Kasturirangan, eminent scientist who chaired the drafting committee of the new policy, will go into the making of it. Higher Education Secretary, Mr. Amit Khare, will explain how the government plans to roll out the policy all across the country. We also have 3 stimulating panel discussions on the new policy, impact on the school education, it's the higher education part of it, and how it will integrate technology with traditional modes of teaching. So I invite you to sit back and listen to what we promise is going to be a conclave that will enlighten you on an issue that is vital to the future of our children and the development of our country. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen.